How's it going, Jack Tackers, and welcome back to another video for you guys. Today, I wanted to kind of reflect on the final season of Better Call Saul, now that it officially has been a year since the double premiere aired, episodes 1 and 2, which is pretty crazy. April 18th, 1 year ago, the day of me posting this video, it's been a year, and it's just really crazy to say because time has kind of flown by since then. Now, obviously, it hasn't been a year since the series finale, but I kind of still wanted to make this video because I thought it was pretty fitting, especially now that season 6 is on Netflix now, at least in the US. I know a lot of people in the UK were kind of bragging, saying that they had season 6 for, months at this point. But now the US has it, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of reflect on the whole season, not just the first 2 episodes that aired a year ago today, because I find it interesting with shows like Succession and Barry now on their final season. I think it's kind of interesting to look back on this show's final season because, there's a lot to go over, and I do kind of want to ask the question, did we overhype this season just because it was the final season and we all maybe had a bit of recency bias? Did we? Obviously, the answer to that is no. This season's amazing. I love this season. It is the best season of the show, and quite frankly, one of the best seasons of television I've ever seen. I wouldn't say it's the best. I did a whole video talking about Breaking Bad versus Better Call Saul, and if you saw that, you know that I very much still think Breaking Bad is better, even though there's that iconic meme, Breaking Bad better Call Saul, so Better Call Saul is better. But, I don't really like to pin the shows against each other, but it's hard not to because they are in the same universe. But at the end of the day, they're entirely different shows. And either way, though, like I said, this final season was one of the best seasons I've ever seen. And it was amazing. It is just a masterpiece of television, truly. And it subverts the audience expectations in, like, a good way. I remember watching the trailers for this final season and being kind of curious as to how they were going to kind of execute certain things, how they were going to wrap up certain character stories. And I think that it kind of ends everything perfectly. And I know there's a bit of controversy with some of the characters' endings, specifically Lalo. I don't really see much other people complaining about any of the other stories with the characters, but Lalo's character end, a lot of people I did see when episode 8, Point and Shoot, came out. There were some controversies because some people were not really satisfied with his death. Me personally, I thought it was perfect. I thought it was dealt with pretty well, if we're being honest. And, maybe I wanted him to have a bit more of a final moment like Gus did in Breaking Bad with him walking into the nursing home and that, music's playing, which is amazing, by the way. But I kind of feel like Lalo killing Howard might have been that, his final moment, his final big moment. But then also he gets that final laugh at the end when he's shot and just laying on the ground. Some Joker type stuff right there. It was amazing, though, and I think looking back on that scene, I still think it's great. And while we did have that kind of like 1 or 2 month break in between episodes 7 and 8, I still think that episode 8 delivered. And by the way, it wasn't intended to have that break. So maybe some people were just a bit underwhelmed. Maybe if people saw that episode directly after, a week after episode 7 came out, people wouldn't have been as upset with it. But by the way, when I'm talking about these people that are upset about Lalo's conclusion, there's not that many of those people out there, if we're being honest. Most people believe that it was really good. I myself included. I loved what they did with Lalo in this season. And Plan and Execution is still one of the best, actually it is the best episode of the show. And I did a ranking of all the episodes of this show, and I kind of decided that Bagman was my favorite episode of the series, but then I realized as time went on, I don't know if I entirely agree with that. Plan and Execution was just so good, and that final scene with Howard getting shot was just so tragic and intense, and Lalo is just an amazing villain, and I don't know, it was perfect. That whole scene, the execution of Plan and Execution was just brilliant, And yeah, overall, I just think that this season kind of going back to it's kind of subverting audience expectations. We didn't really get a Gene scene at the beginning of this season. We obviously got to see the raid on Saul's house, and we got to see how Saul was living. And his house was amazing, by the way, with the golden toilet. But, it was cool to see all of that instead of getting a Gene scene right off the bat. But I will say what they ended up doing in the final 4 episodes of the show was pretty brilliant, I'll say. And then also there was kind of, I guess, controversy, because I throw that word around all the time in this video, apparently. There was controversy surrounding episode 10, Nippy. Some people didn't really like that episode. I mean, I think it services the plot quite well, and it's definitely needed. And it was very cool just to see Gene again, because it had been 10 episodes since we had seen him. Actually, more than that, because, season 5. So I guess basically 20 episodes since we had last seen Gene, which is pretty crazy to think about. But it was just great to see him again. And I really like what they did with the final 3 episodes, kind of switching in between timelines a bit, the Breaking Bad timeline. And obviously we got to see Walt and Jesse again, which was amazing. And it was completely satisfying in my opinion. And then the way the series ends with Saul finally being imprisoned and coming to terms with the fact that this is what he deserves. This is what he needs. He needs to be locked up. Even though he got his sentence down to 7 years, he can't do that. And he wanted to show Kim that he actually had changed and that he is a decent person on the inside. And all of that kind of relates back to what Chuck said in Chicanery, saying that Jimmy would never change. But of course, Jimmy did and proved Chuck wrong. And I think that's just a brilliant ending. I think it's a perfect ending. And I loved what they did with that, because it was very powerful, to be honest, especially that scene, that monologue scene in the courtroom. By the way, Bob Odenkirk's acting in that scene as well was just fantastic, but he's always fantastic. He's the man. And, it was satisfying in my opinion, but also very sad. It was a bittersweet series finale and a bittersweet ending, but I think that's kind of what the series needed. I like bittersweet endings, to be honest. I don't like when it's overly happy or overly sad, but I think it was just the right amount of kind of drama to throw in there with him being separated from Kim. Although Kim can come and visit him, but it'd still be just a very, complex situation, because he'll never really get to be with her again. At least not really. Again, she can visit, but yeah. And then that final smoke that they share in the series finale is just perfect as well. Obviously relating back to the pilot episode of the series, when they were sharing that smoke in the parking structure. It was just great. It was a cool little callback. And, also, I forgot to talk about Nacho's death, which was very sad. That happened in only episode 3, Rockin' Hard Place. Man, that was crazy. I remember watching that episode in particular and being like, whoa, this is only episode 3. What do they have in store for us with the rest of the season? And, they had Plan and Execution and Point and Shoots and Waterworks, which all of those are just fantastic episodes. So, yeah, pretty crazy. I mean, I think, honestly, a lot of these episodes in Season 6 are great. There might be a few that are kind of weak. Maybe Black and Blue, Episode 5, wasn't amazing. That Howard versus Jimmy fight was kind of strange. Not super strange. Like, I still enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. But it was a little bit wacky, I guess. Just a tidbit wacky. I don't know. Anyway, I think overall this season's very strong, and I don't think that we had any recency bias when it came to this season, because I still think it holds up. It is amazing. I also loved how they, wrapped up Gus's story, in Fun and Games. Fun and Games is also one of my favorite episodes. I completely forgot about that one as well, episode 9. Yeah, there you go. That just goes to show you how great this season really was. But yeah, that final conversation he has with that guy at the bar when he's drinking wine. I think he was drinking wine. Just kind of showing that Gus can never really have a relationship with anyone, because he's chosen this path of revenge against Hector Salamanca. And it's very tragic, but I loved what they did with it. And have I said that enough? But yeah, let me hear your guys' thoughts and your reflection kind of on this final season, because now that it's been a year since it premiered, it's kind of interesting to think about a little bit. and ponder, I guess you could say. But yeah, these are some of my thoughts on the final season, because I didn't really make any videos for it when it was airing, apart from the episodes ranked video that I did. But yeah, that's kind of like, I guess, my brief rundown of my thoughts on the season. It was fantastic. It's the best season of the show. I love it. I love the show. I'm going to miss it so much. And maybe I'll do another one of these videos, one of these reflection videos, once it's actually been a year since the series finale aired, which I think it aired in August. So yeah, maybe I'll make another video of this in August. Or was it September? I don't know. But yeah, put your thoughts and comments down below. If you liked this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new. And check out my Letterboxd and Twitter down in the description below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.